Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Jai ma'am. Welcome to the session.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much.
How are you, ma'am?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
I'm good too. Yes, thank you, ma'am. So shall we start, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, we can begin.
Yes. Okay, so welcome, good evening, and welcome to the this live session interaction with the experts. And I welcome all the students and the expert for the session, Jaya Chetwani ma'am. And before going to start our session, this session is about a kind of interview, a kind of discussion where we are going to discuss how the cyber awareness, cyber security, or cyber smartness is useful in a school context. So that is how we are going to proceed. I request everyone to keep mute on yourself, and whenever is required, you can raise your hand and you can ask the questions. So initially we shall have the discussion. During the discussion, you can ask the questions or you can ask your question after the discussion. There can be two ways of the discussion. One way you can unmute and ask the question, and second way you can type your question in chat box. So before going to start this session, I would like to introduce our extremely talented resource person. I'm very thankful that she could available today for us because she is always engaged with the national and international activities. Our resource person for today's session is Jaya Chetwani, Innovative Ambassador, Ministry of Education, Innovative Cell, AICT, CBSE, and Ministry of Education, Government of India. She is also SPSC Ambassador, Sustainable Promoter and Sustainability Collaborators, UK. I request everyone to mute yourself, Sonali. As we are becoming a cyber smart teacher, we are expected to mute. We should know when to mute and when to unmute. Our speaker, today's speaker, Jaya Chetwani, is pursuing PhD in education. She has qualified education, SET in education, MEd, BEd, MSc in counseling and psychology, PG DCP, TTC, and she is also authorized counselor by RCI. She is also working as an academician, counselor, reflective practitioner, and special educator. She has been currently associated with a CBSE school and junior college in the capacity of principal. During the pandemic, she has been associated with the diversified activities, and she had contributed in children's well-being and learning survey conducted by Delhi Communication and Protection of Child Rights and Government of NCT of Delhi for Right to Education. So we must be wondering why she is here in a cyber education course because of her work in child well-being and learning survey conducted by the Delhi government. And she has been invited as a resource person and guest of honor at many state, national and international seminar, workshop and conferences. She is a core committee member of Research Culture Committee and Government Register International Scientific Research Organization. Antonio is one of the company which involved in develop educational software and mobile application. She is the part of that project. Her e-content is selected by Government of India and under Vidyadan initiative. She had been rendered psychological support as a part of helpline that DCPCR instituted by during the lockdown period providing emotional and psychosocial support to the citizens of Delhi diagnosed with COVID positive, and has been recognized with the certificate of exemplary dedication for COVID warrior by 13 state government and 9 municipalities. She has been acknowledged her contribution for education and life school book in written by Dr. Rekha Pathak. She has been proud recipient and participants of different national and international conferences. She won third prize in national level research presentation organization by Savitribai Phule Pune University and Adarsh Comprehensive College of Education and Research. She has been awarded as an outstanding leader in school education at second ELTS Education Innovation Summit to be held on 10 December 2022. She has been felicited by Hub, a talent principal at EI Asset Talent Search held at 3rd December 2022. Best practices for creative learning published in e-souvenir by Central Board of Secondary Education on 18th 28th National Annual Conference by Sahodaya of School Complex 2022. She has been acted as a venue director for CBSE training program in the month of November 2022. She has been rewarded with the Best EDAC Implementation Award in 2022. As we can see, we had eminent personality with different kind of contribution in different areas, which are the subjects and the areas which are associated with the cyber education around. And till the date, with the help of different modules, we understand what is the cyber smartness, what is the do and what is the don't. But apart from that, we are expected to go beyond that instead of just having do's and don'ts. I think the kind of resource person we do have has a experience and a knowledge to work in different sectors, which are definitely linked with the cyber smartness. She has also contributed in a different kind of academic activities like research paper, critical review of and reflection on draft of National Education Policy 2022. She has participated in a Lavasa Women Drive for career awareness. She was among the top 20 finalists in Mrs. Maharashtra Green in 2012. She has participated in different workshops carried out by different boards in the pandemic. And her name has been mentioned in different books. Those are published in different kind of publication. She has been reflected many times in media, on television and newspaper. So, ladies and gentlemen, and all dear students, I'm very happy that she is available with us for the having the discussion on different aspects of the school education, which is related with the her work and her expertise. I would like to welcome once again, ma'am, for this live interactive session. As you have worked in a different area or which are associated around peripherals of the cyber smartness, ma'am, you also worked in the COVID situation with the kids, with the parents who are found COVID positive in that direction. Even you are doing many kind of educational counseling for the kids and for the parents and different schools too. So with the help of this experience, I would like to ask ma'am to initiate our discussion on the cyber smartness. Such cyberbullying and cyber threats and cyber stalking, these are some of the major threats those are faced by our students. And as a teacher, we are very worried about our students. So in this direction, I would like to ask two questions to you that please enlighten us that how to identify the symptoms of these kids that they are being bullied, they are being threatened by someone, how to identify it and how to handle it. Jai ma'am, please.
Thank you, sir, for that in-depth introduction and great achievements that you have listed. Thank you so much for that. And being an expert, sir, I have worked with students during COVID and post-COVID. This COVID has taught us many things. Pandemic came with its pros and cons. We have become technology one step ahead in technology post pandemic, right? But because of pandemic, students' access to mobiles, handsets, computers has increased multifold. So earlier, the research states that they were using mobiles and computers for 25%. Now it has gone to beyond 80%. So even if you try to restrict that, how much can we do that? So yes, overuse of internet, overuse of gadgets comes in with a lot of threats. So one way to identify this is, sir, that as a parent, as an educator, you have to be very aware. First thing is you need to build your rapport with the students. They should feel comfortable talking to you about whatever they are going through. Cyberbullying is such that they don't even realize that they are being bullied. Constant messages, hammering of messages, they feel it is the new normal. But I also feel that your rapport with the students is built. They should come and talk to you that this is what is happening. But in case we have not worked on that area, the patterns can be observed and we can identify those things. For example, if a child who enjoys going outdoors suddenly decides not to go, for a certain period of time, he's always found in his room. The timing is fixed. The one who was eating a lot suddenly stops eating, is throwing tantrums, has anger issues. These are the symptoms that parents and educators should look into. And the foremost is their disinterest in any activity. They would not want to participate. Once you see this trend is rising, it is high time that you talk to the child. Don't confront, but yes, observe and then take necessary precaution.
If we see, ma'am, that as you are been associated with the parents and the kids too, so students are smarter than the parents. If you when the technology comes in the general life, we are expected that parents will guide the kids, parents will tell what to do and what not to do. Even the same thing happens with the teachers, like they guide the students about selection of the course, about the choices they have to make. But in the classroom, parents and teachers are smarter than the students.
Sir, we lost your voice. Hello.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you are audible now.
So students are smarter in the cyber world. They are, in fact, we when we interact with the parents, they say ki this ringtone has been set by my kids. No, this wallpaper has been set by kids. They had set this and those settings. It means somewhere parents and teacher as an older generation, they are not smarter as the kids are. Then the students and kids are smarter. So in this situation, how it is difficult as a parents and as a teacher to guide the student. The actual students are smarter, they are more skillful. So how to handle this situation?
So here I would want to say, as far as educators are concerned, earlier we were called as teachers because we were teaching them. Then we were called as leaders because we were leading them. Now we are called as facilitators. We just facilitate because now there is no trend of we are knowledgeable. Students these days are more knowledgeable than us. Why? Because information is available at the tip of fingertips for them. The point is why we are struggling because we are resisting the change. Students are open to learning. You give them anything. For example, Chat GPT. Last time, when yesterday only grade 10th results were declared for CBSE, I recall the hall ticket which was given to student. It clearly mentioned that Chat GPT is not allowed. That means even board had predicted that students will use it. But
Yes.
here we, the grown-ups, are still thinking, ये क्यों आया है, इसको कैसे करना है? See, we are still questioning. We are not ready to change. We are not ready to accept. Students do that. So my advice would be that you have to be up with them, understand the technology, adopt towards it, because somewhere or the other, the technology is going to change and evolve. If you don't do that, you will be running behind from everyone. That is the area where students feel that मेरे teacher को, मेरे parents को कुछ नहीं आता, because we are resisting the new things. Right now also the debate, the hot debate that is going on is, why are we supposed to use this? Will our jobs vanish after chat gpt? Why aren't we thinking about how to utilize this? It is a model used, made by us. It is on us how effectively we use it and for what purpose we use it. So I would suggest that upgrade yourself, learn the technology, and make effective use of the same.
And one of the way to get to be a smart, to joining such a course like cyber smart teacher, or to join such a course where trainings are held. So if we see the scenario in a school where the teachers and teachers are trained to use the various application only, like how to use PowerPoint presentation, how to use a particular application, or whatever tailor-made software is provided by the school. So during, I think it is also should be trained that what are the threats over there and how it can be handled. So in a school, ma'am, since you are working in a senior secondary school and junior college as a principal, so is there any kind of program, is there any kind of training program is conducted in your school, or is there any program that can be designed or that can be arranged to train the teachers as a cyber smart teachers?
Sir, good question. Thank you for this question, because this is really the that we have become developed country. Earlier we were called as developing country. Now we are called as developed country. We talk about integration of technology into classroom learning situation. We talked about, how technology is going to change the world. But sadly, if you look into the curriculum also, ICT still is an optional subject. When we talk about it, this should be a mandatory part of our day-to-day life. Cyber threats are most prominent these days because now we have tabs, the schools which have e-libraries. We have bagless schools. We have schools working purely on tab models. So it becomes very important that yes, we should be having these kind of courses. And yes, boards do prescribe. There is an handbook by CBSE given, which gives you a bird's eye view about how to identify the threats, how to overcome it. But the sad point is there nowhere we are reporting if we are doing this or not. I mention it as a mandatory activity, but my humble request is we should be involving all the stakeholders over here, be it parents, be it educators, be it students, because these days even students don't understand the repercussions. They like somebody and they just start messaging. If you just ask them, if you give them an example, if we spend some time with them, when they are switching on their mobiles and their cameras, they are very mindful about their actions, what they speak, how they walk, how they talk. But they don't realize the moment they are on internet, the moment they are using technology, the digiprints are formed. That might not be visible to them, and they are so comfortable sharing their pictures here and there, sharing their credentials here and there. So what happens is they are even not aware what are they doing. They are not aware about the repercussions. They are not aware if somebody is stalking them, troubling them, they can report. And also because they come with a fear that my parents will snatch away my mobile, they will not allow me to use it. These days mobiles are a status symbol for everyone. So
Yes.
my request to this is we have to be very mindful with them. Digiprints and all awareness should be given to students simultaneously. Trainings, effective trainings, how to identify those issues, how to create a safe learning environment. We have firewalls built where whatever you access on internet is supervised, monitored. You cannot go on those sites. So all of that can be done by the school management. At the same time, a session for parents as to how to help a child when there is a lot of addiction. We have seen mobile addiction where a student is using mobile more than 18 hours, and literally the treatment that is being given for alcohol de-addiction is the similar treatment recommended for mobile de-addiction. So that is how we have to involve all the stakeholders over here, and then only we can come up with a robust plan wherein students can have a safe congenial environment.
Oh. One of the contradiction, ma'am, as you are a educational psychologist, you are child specialist. So generally, when parents are told to the student that to their kids that don't use the mobile phone, at the same time they themselves are busy with the mobile phone. And even as a teacher, we are telling student, giving them the homework that do this search on internet and find out something and write a project. So everywhere teachers are saying use the mobile phone, and as a parent themselves are using the mobile phone. So the how then as a parent, how I can say my students to how I can say to my kids that not to use the mobile phone. So how this psychology can be handled?
Sir, we cannot say that don't use the mobile phone, because in that way we will be like, asking them not to go with the world. What we are talking about here is we can have an environment where the safe use of mobile and hands is promoted. You can have an effective monitoring system where even the child does not feel that he's been observed a lot. That also can be done. And another thing is, sir, as we were talking about firewalls, that can be given to the students, and limitation on the use is what I would recommend rather than no use. Educators also should understand that technology is there to help them.
Yeah.
You can ask them to do research on that. But every time using technology to find answers, submitting PDF, that is something which I would not recommend. Once in a blue moon, you do it, but then it should only be used for research, and specified websites should be given, and effective time management for should also that be listed. Again, when you do that, involvement of parents is must. Parents should be aware that there's going to be there, and yes, balance it out, not everything on internet.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Now, I'm asking to the participants to keep ready your questions and query. You can type your queries or questions in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions to the experts. So I want this more in a dialogue way instead of just talking and just hearing. So please unmute and ask your questions so we can have a dialogue over here. Between the questions comes, I would like to know, ma'am, that you are handling, you are doing educational counseling too. There are many people approaches to you. So have you seen any, have you encountered any case, say any case study in this regard, like somebody is affected by the cyber threats or something like that? Is there any case that you'd like to share?
So there are many cases. There are two examples which I would want to share with you. As in educators, we do use social media to share messages with parents, to communicate with parents. We share a lot of notices. A new trend that has come into notice is that these social media platforms are used to send material which is not appropriate for students. From unknown numbers, we are getting those kind of, different images and different videos which are not age appropriate for students. So when you try to see this is because we as a parent are not active with our privacy settings. Even when you use WhatsApp, even when you use Facebook, even if the school is asking you to use a platform, the privacy settings are completely with the parent. The parent should make effective use, study the software properly, when to log in, what request to accept, when to accept, that is completely on us. Even on Facebook, these days you would have seen that a lot of fake profiles are created, and then they ask you for money and all of that. Here, the point is because we keep our friend list open, we don't lock our profile. Similarly, on WhatsApp, we share a lot of pictures which can be saved easily. So my request to all of you is we must be very mindful. We have many cases where these videos were circulated, parents were threatened, students were shown contents like this. Immediately, they should be reporting it to cyber cell. Sir, I have shared the numbers and the contact numbers with you. If you can share with the participants, immediately when a child says, states, or you observe that he has been getting these kind of material, you should directly report it to the cyber cell. Secondly, yes, there were students who were continuously getting stalked on social media. There were cases where they were being bullied. This impacts their mental well-being. You can see their graph of education going down, teachers not responding because the child gets very aggressive. So similarly, for these cases also, overuse of mobile was one symptoms from which we understood that the child is going through a lot, and disinterest was the second one. Thirdly, after a lot of scrutiny, we understood that the child was being troubled by someone. They feel that they are being bullied. fear to report it because they feel action against them. They feel guilty about it. Building your rapport is extremely important. Secondly, making them aware that you can report it and no repercussions will be on you. Culprit will be getting hold of. So that all needs to be done. And for that, timely sessions on cybersecurity is the need of the hour.
Yes. Yes, thank you, ma'am. There is one question now. Rukmini has raised the hand, and I would like to inform all of you that you can ask your question in Marathi, Hindi, or English. Ma'am will answer in English. She can understand Marathi. So you can ask your questions Marathi or in Hindi or in English. So first, I would like to ask Rukmini, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, sir. A good talk, madam. Actually, I'm teaching for a B.Ed college since 25 years. I have been teaching guidance and counseling as a subject for the students. My query is, we often teach them about the importance of guidance, different types of guidance in their day-to-day life, as well as for the students in schools. We often conduct projects, we often carry out career information, so many things we do. My query is, madam, with respect to our own personal life with families and friends, we often see that, the children, when they grow up, maybe in adolescent age, they do not want any interference from their parents as such. They are into their mobile and they often see, which is restricted, as you rightly said. And we try to create a rapport because we understand we cannot, have any corporal punishment or we cannot blame the child. We often, as an educator, we often understand their feelings and emotions. But it is seen that in spite of doing so, somewhere we fail, in helping them out, in being safe in using these platforms. Moreover, nowadays we give them, individual phones. They want their own mobile phones. They do not want any kind of control over their use. And they often see it also when we are not aware of the same. Okay, so when they are doing assignments or something, so we cannot be, 24/7, we cannot be behind them looking out what they have to do, what not. We can just talk to them. I always build in rapport with my friends' child also when they come to our house. Adult students, I often counsel them indirectly. I'm not a counselor, but I often guide them. So I would like to know from you as a specialized counselor, what is your solution for this, or what kind of help you could provide to such parents?
Ma'am, the first and the foremost thing is, yes, of course, students don't like it when we interfere because we are more of preacher. We preach them. They would do anything for their friends, but not for their family. You must have observed this because their friends accept them unconditionally and we put conditions to them. ये करेगा तो ये मिलेगा, ये लाएगा तो ये देंगे. We put conditions and it becomes very difficult for them. They want acceptance, which we are not able to do. Secondly, monitoring is important. If the child is below 18 years of age, there are many monitoring systems developed by Google also, where the child is not aware, but you can track, you can understand and track the activities by the students. Though I don't recommend that for adolescents, but then below 18, yes, we do that because parents should also be aware about what website the child is visiting, what he is doing. So as I rightly said that, parents also need awareness, these trainings. How many of us parents are aware about all of this? We don't monitor, we just give them answers, we give them data, but we don't tell them which sites are not safe. So here, parents training is very important. Many apps are there which are free of cost, will help you to monitor your child's thing. We work on your rapport with your students. Provide them that environment where they feel comfortable to share it with you. We do it once they are grown up. Now we try to build the gap. That is not going to happen. It is a gradual process. It starts with family time. A simple activity like, all of them keeping their handsets while eating food works wonders. Where you have just time to interact with each other. These days we all sit together. But do we interact? No, we are all on our mobiles. So simple activities, but mindful activities are the need of the hour. And yes, it is a gradual process. You have to do it right from the start. Any point of time, if we start, it becomes very difficult to do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ma'am, there is one question by Prachi Suryavanshi in the chat box. She is asking about how does mind programming help students in this regard? She's talking about mind programming.
Prachi ma'am, if you can unmute and explain me, what do you mean by mind program, ma'am? Prachi ma'am. Sorry, if you can help
Hello.
me understand what do we mean.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
she
ma'am.
is
Yes, you're
online. Yes,
audible.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. I want to ask that how does mind programming, something like mind programming, the neuro-linguistic program, that we train our mind to do certain things in our life. So can this help these students to be alert and aware related to cyber security? How we can train them, like we parents, like how they're programmed, their brain can be programmed. That is my question.
Ma'am, neuro-linguistic, what you talked about, and mind programming that you're talking about, I would say rather than that, reinforcement of values is something which I would recommend, because this is cyber security and this is nowhere related. But still, to answer your question, I would say that anything would work only if you put in right effort and there is a transparency between the process. We just tell students don't do this. We fail to say why. And secondly, like today, how many of us have experienced chat GPT? We have not. We don't do it unless somebody asks us to please check करके बता दो अब ये use होने वाला है, then only we do it. Students have explored all of things. So the right thing is to be with the trend, adopt the technology and see how better you can use that.
Yes, I would like to add over here that in our at our home itself, like we do teach our kids about the etiquettes in different sectors, what to do and what not to do. Even it should not be stopped to the just telling or just informing to our kids, but they should be trained. That's what ma'am wanted to say, that we should train our kids and students to do certain things, to see the things beyond beyond the technology. As ma'am rightly you have given the example that Mr. King is there on the profile, but we don't know who is there on the other side of the profile. So we should train our students and kids to identify the threats, to handle the threats. And for that purpose, I think we should have the rapport, and we should give the assurance to our kid that yes, if there are something happened wrong, you can share to us. Ma'am, as you're working with the kids to in a different with the different students with the different fears, so what do you think, why kids do not share the secrets or or miss things happen to them with the parents? Generally, these things comes at the last to the kid, last to the parents. दोस्तों को पता होता है, फ्रेंड्स को पता होता है, सबको पता होता है, बट जिसको पता होना चाहिए उसको ही पता नहीं होता, दैट इज पेरेंट्स. So they are the last person who know that what happened with their kids in the cyber world. So why students or kids do not ready to share these things with the parents? What could be the psychology behind it?
So generally, it has been seen that why students don't share with their parents is because we parents first question them about तुम ये भी करते हो, तुम ये भी देखते हो, तुम ये क्यों करते हो? We are we have a lot of questioning mindset about all of their actions and attitudes. Here, I would want to give you an example about one psychological case that came to me. It was related to a child using Instagram to a larger extent that it was disturbing his academics to a greater length. Parents wanted us to meet, and it was identified that any person he used to send message, and any person who reverts back, he used to send I love you to that person, be it male, be it female. Later on, once we understood the cycle, why is this happening constantly, you know we understood that the validation, the love that he required from his family was missing, which is why the child is going out of the boat to get that validation from outside world. One thing that social media provides is the validation for whatever you feel. You feel high, you feel low. FOMO and Jomo are the new trends that are coming up. Fear of missing out. Student, as soon as they reach home, the first thing that they do is they touch their handsets. They want to see what their friends are doing, where they are going, what they are eating. And suddenly, when everything is good in their life, they feel, oh, but I am not doing this. This create unnecessary anxiety, unnecessary pressure, unnecessary fear, and unnecessary performance expectation that, oh, I also have to achieve so much. Now, yesterday, once the results were declared, everyone posting the results, on social media. this is like kind of panicky situation for the students who are in grade 9th right now, because they feel, oh, this is what I this expected, because parents show, ye dekho iska itna aaya, ye dekho uska utna aaya. So what are we doing? Are we motivating them? So, which is also one of the reason that students, when they use internet a lot, is because they fear they are missing out on all those things. So we as a parent, as an educator, have to ensure that yes, they use it, but we give them a right balance for the same and validate their feelings, which we fail to do. We question them a lot. We don't validate them. Once you give them that validation, they will not seek that from outside world.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Once I was listening you in some international webinar where you are saying about how to use social media like for private purpose, for professional purpose, what to share and what not to share as a teacher. Like sometimes, like you just mentioned that parents are sharing the result of their kids on the social media on different platform. So I think what's your opinion, ma'am, on that?
Sir, I would want to ask our participants over here
Uh,
on a lighter note, how many of us display and showcase our wealth that we have very nicely on social media? Do we do that? I owe this many crores, that many lakhs, this many cars. We don't do that. We are very mindful. Why? Because we don't want to come into the eyes of income tax. We don't want to create problems for us. But we are so comfortable sharing our children's photo, our own personal photos everywhere. These days these social media platforms are not a good way to showcase all of this. I would recommend that you keep your circles very private. If it is for the professional use, only your professional content should be highlighted there, where you should have only your educational content. You make a page like that where is everything educational. And if it is for family and friends, where you can only add the people you trust, because otherwise it becomes khichdi. And as we don't showcase our wealth, our money everywhere, you should not be doing that with your pictures. And parents, whatever you do, educators, whatever you do, you are the role models for our students. They are going to follow your footsteps. You are going to post everything, and you scream at your children, why did you do this? So that is not acceptable. We must not preach and teach. Action speaks louder than words. So my humble request to you is be mindful about what you're using and why are you using. First, monitor your own usage, then only preach and teach the students, because they are going to throw that on our face. मैडम आप ही ने होमवर्क दिया था ना, मैम आपने ही ये करने के लिए बोला था, मम्मी पूरा दिन मोबाइल देखती है. तो दैट इज हाउ इट इज. बी वेरी माइंडफुल whom you include in your circle. Once they see you not doing it, they will also not do it.
Yes. We say to our kids, do not use mobile phone, and we say not to do, but generally do we say them what to do? Like, like if they see you are busy in doing some creative activity, you are busy in going out, you are spending time without mobile phone, then only they will follow you. Otherwise words are different and sayings are different. We are saying नहीं हम बड़े हैं, हमारे लिए compulsory, हमें तो use करना ही है. So we take that privilege that हम बड़े हैं तो हम decide करेंगे. And when we are using it regularly and frequently, like addiction, so how we can expect students to our kids that not to use the mobile phone? And just you shared, I remember one case where it was the case of clearly kidnapping, and the kidnapper, they studies the profile of the person, that what their kids like they'll do like some
So your voice.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you are.
So they
Yes.
study the profile of the person and the kids by observing their wall itself, Facebook wall. उन्होंने वहां पे देखा कि इसको आइसक्रीम कौन सा पसंद है, गाड़ियां कौन सी पसंद है, किस टाइम की एक्टिविटीज क्या होती है, फैमिली एक्टिविटीज क्या होती है, वो सारा उन्होंने they study it and how they plan their kidnapping with having no flaws. So
Correct, sir. Here I would want to add that, even we like post it a lot of times, our regular hangout place, or every Wednesday we go there. We are very casual with whatever
yes,
we write. And also we don't lock our profiles. So see, you are giving the data to everyone.
Yes.
And if you give data and you expect that not to be used, this is heights of confidence, I must say. So we have to be very, we have to be very mindful about that. And when you post it so casually, students also post it. They share their credentials also. I will tell you, sir, that we had cases where one single account has been used by group of students.
Okay.
Yes, they
Okay.
make, like, they are comfortable sharing credentials, and whatever is happening on that group. So we as educators and parents have to be very mindful about what is the trend that these students are following. So that ways we have to bring them, we have to show them what are the repercussions. If you do this, what are the actions that cyber cell takes. In this cases should also be discussed.
Yes. And just you mentioned previously, meanwhile, अगर कोई questions किसी का है तो आप पूछ सकते हैं, प्रकाश सर, सिद्धि. So you just mentioned about the validation. If you see in my cyber security session, generally I ask one questions कि अगर मैं आपको पूछता हूँ कि आपका एक एक फोटो मुझे देना प्रिंट करके, so they refuse कि हम आपको आपका फोटो नहीं दे सकते. So on the other hand, they are spreading their photos on the internet to the world. So this is how I think this mindset it is as in psychology. How do you see that? Why people do that thing? Like they do not give physically you a photograph, but yes, they will circulate on the internet. So कहाँ से भी कोई भी ले सकता है, प्रिंट आउट निकाल सकता है, मॉर्फ कर सकता है, एडिट कर सकता है फोटो. So that is allowed. लेकिन अगर हम प्रिंट मांगते तो नहीं देते. So this is how you can see this psychology as you are a psychologist. How do you see this psychology?
Hello, sir.
So first of all,
Yes,
they are
yes. Yes. Yes.
Should I speak, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. This was the topic is going about a cyber crime. Why we should not make as a subject at a secondary level? Because like mathematics, science, and all that, we should have one subject also on this cyber and all that, related to issues and all that, awareness and all that. If there is one subject related it, at least graded subject, I think this problem will be solved, not fully, but it will be get minimized. What do you think, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
If we keep a
So very
subject,
nice question. I
no, if
am
we,
totally in
yes,
sync with that question, sir. Yes, sir.
if we
Yes.
keep a subject, if we keep a subject like mathematics, science, like that one subject related to cybercrime awareness and all that, if we keep a subject at secondary level, mostly, not at primary level, at secondary level and higher secondary level, related to it, the case studies and all that, then they will come to know from the school more. Because the students
Sir,
are educated to.
Sir,
I
I
think
want to ask you two questions. I want to
Yes.
ask you, is ICT mandatory or optional now?
ICT is mandatory or optional. It depends on the school. Mostly compulsory it is. ICT is compulsory most of the schools.
At school level,
Not-
no, sir.
No, but
No.
most of
At
the
school
private
level,
schools are teaching.
it is
No,
still, it is
private
still
schools-
being, it is still as considered as an optional graded subject, sir. Now
No,
we are
that's
struggling. Yes, sir.
but though it is optional, but many private schools, CBSE schools, they are teaching ICT and all that. No problem. But
Sir, teaching is one thing.
and grading is one other
Making
different part.
it mandatory is another thing. If you look into it, sorry.
What's your opinion? Just tell me. Is it possible to keep a subject related to cyber awareness and all that?
We should be keeping it, sir. But my answer to that is right now still ICT is not mandatory. So
Okay,
keeping cyber security as mandatory will take some time.
Hmm.
But yes, it is need of the hour. We should be doing it.
Okay. Thank
There
you.
are some handbooks published by the CBSE.
By CBSE, yes.
Right.
Which
Even
is
by the
mandatory
NCERT.
for the schools to follow. Being said that, here I also want to say that there are quite certification also available for schools,
Hmm.
for colleges. You can apply for the certification wherein your entire campus becomes cyber safe as well as safe from physical abuse. So there are safe certificates available. Few of the schools that I have worked with are recognized safe schools where bullying and you have effective firewall system for the content being watched by the educators as well as the students. So we can have a concept of safe schools also.
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Most of the government schools, they appoint ICT teacher also through the government processes. In Goa, I observed most of the schools, they are having a post of the ICT.
It is
Every
there here
school.
also, sir. It is there here also. But it is not mandatory. It is still today, there are ICT exams are not conducted. It is graded.
It is
And
graded.
that too, it is not given that much importance. Yes, sir. We have
Yes,
it.
yes.
We have it, but it is still to get the due credit.
Okay. Like that, it can be implemented.
Yes.
Like that, it
Yes,
can be
yes, sir.
implemented.
NEP will change everything, sir, very soon.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yes.
Mm.
There is one question or the opinion asked in the chat box by Archana ma'am. Is it important that we should take precautions while handling the website and all? If any such kind of cyberbullying happens, then what should be done?
Ma'am, the first thing is if you are into education, you can, if you are an educator and if you're giving it for a research assignment, you should be very specific about which websites to use. You should be giving clear instructions. There are very nice websites which are useful for academics. Shodhganga is there. We have Quora. All of these are good websites which can be recommended. But you have to first research on your own. If you think that is safe, then only recommend it to your students. Cyberbullying is, it starts with stalking first. They stalk the profile, then they start bombarding them with the messages, then they ask them for pictures, and later on things happen. So when this happens, we should always approach cybercrime cell. They are there. And even if there is no incident happening, but you see, if most use of gadgets in your schools, these days we get requests from parents, allow students to carry gadgets because they have to book Ola, Uber, we are not at home, we are concerned. So these days students are getting their gadgets to schools and colleges also. So once they are allowing it, it is bound to happen. So even if you predict this, you can always arrange a cybersecurity like webinar awareness program for educators, for parents, even for students. They give you certification also. There are a lot of quizzes available by NCRT, government portal. There are many things that can be done. Here, students become aware about what effective measures they can take. So bullying has to be reported. Cyber cell has to be immediately informed, and they investigate the matter and they take effective action against the same. And yes, here both parties are involved and school management is also involved, but no damage is done, so we can freely do that.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the information.
And as a teacher, even when we are sharing the website with links or telling student to use this resource and that resource, instead of that, we should share the student the trusted sources that we have already used. Now we need to cross verify. Suppose you find like it happened with recently, like the CTET advertisement is there. Again, the net advertisement is there. So when we do Google search, generally we click on the first link that comes in the Google search.
Sir,
Yes,
here,
ma'am,
if you allow me, I would want to share one more example with you. If we have 2 minutes of extra time, these days there are clone sites being made. Official, whatever government sites are there. I had an experience where we were registering a child for an external examination through NIOS, and the entire website is cloned. Only the payment option they put it their own. The parent was not even aware that he has paid amount to clone website during examination. After an year, sir, when the parent went to the center for some query and he said, I have paid XYZ amount. The amount was in thousands. And still why I'm not getting the service? Then he got to know that the center said we charge only 500. That is when the person realized after a year that he had paid it to the third party, and third party had procured the books, even the iCards, even the study material, and had then mailed it on behalf of, they created an ID and mailed everything to the student, how will a student know? Because वहाँ पे आपको वो उनका NIOS ये सब लिख के आता है.
Template
So
is
this
same.
is,
Template
yes,
is same.
everything is same. So there are this, how will you guarantee that? So this is first you have to do understand, you have to ensure which site you can trust. You share the link. Don't ask them Google kar lo mil jayega, not to be
Yes.
not accepted. After a year, the parent has realized that he was like, made fool of it. So that should not happen.
Right, right. So there are many phishing sites available. There are many phishing site shows regarding filling up the NET examination or CTET examination. There are many phishing sites available. So as a teacher, as a school, we should share official links to the students and parents. Like we do share of the to fill out the NET examination, TET examination. So we do share the link and we tell students to go to this site and do the things. Even regarding the ABC ID, that is essential or essential to each and every students in India. There are many fake sites. Student देखते हैं कि template है यहाँ पे UGC लिखा है ये लिखा है, that's it, they go and they fill the data and they give the data and they give the money.
Because we don't talk about what is authentic.
Yes,
We are lacking somewhere. We expect them to know.
yes.
We should be giving them, okay, this is the way where you can identify. See, for notes, how we do it, we hold it in the hands and we check ye line hai kya, ye hai kya. But we don't do that for websites, na?
Right.
We'll be having that kind of modus operandi where we check everything before we share.
Yes. So we do have 5 minutes. If there is any query from anyone, we can go ahead. Otherwise, we are going to conclude the session. So before concluding, I think, ma'am, if you just guide us about the Jomo things that coming frequently into the raid, that what is this Jomo? So we can use all these Jomo techniques for ourselves as a smart teacher.
Jomo, FOMO, everything is like, we as an educator should know what is the abbreviations used by our students, joy of missing out. They want to experience everything that is happening. They get enlightened, they feel happy when they see what is happening on the internet. They make a plan according to that. So they want to be present at that very moment when the things are happening. So this again is a symptom which we as an educator, as a parent should identify. Once in a blue moon, it's fine, but every time if the child is getting cranky because he has not experienced that, he has not witnessed that, he has not seen it, what is happening on the social media now, this itself, my dear, is a symptom where you should be very aware and take it forward from there. Build your rapport, try to understand why he's doing that, and then let us help the child. Sir, I think there are 2 more questions here in the chat box.
Okay.
By Prajakta and Nivruti, I guess.
Yes. Dr. Prajakta ma'am has said that information is on tip of our fingers. How can we build awareness on zero trust for using the internet?
Awareness on zero trust for using internet?
Means we should not trust anyone when we are using the internet. We are not trusting, and then how we should ask the question before clicking on anything. So we should not trust, even it is shared by the teacher. Okay, it is shared by the teacher, it can be good. Then we are going or following that. Something is some link is coming in our official group, we trust. Yes, it is come by the official group, it could be correct. So even it looks like it is correct. Even sometimes it's happened that the messages from in Maharashtra, like state electricity board, that your electricity power going to cut by the because you have not paid the bill of this month, please pay on this link. So it looks like everything is official, authentic. We click on it. Even we do receive some messages like it looks like income tax department messages. We click on the link and we try to pay the income tax. So means though it looks like trustable, though it looks like coming from the trusted source, we should we trust on it or not? That's what ma'am want to say, that zero trust. We don't trust anyone. We need to verify to each and every one of the information or the link that is coming.
See, my answer to that would be, as an educator, as an user of a technology, you must identify your verified source. Secondly, why nobody is fool to send you link like that. This is the time when they know it is result time. Multiple links come to you, but then because we want everything in our hand. We don't want to take that effort to go to that website and open that portal, check the nitty-gritties of it. Somebody sends it, and we want to be the first one to share it, be it news, be it this, and that feeling that we get, okay, I am the first one, should not be there. We should first verify the source before we share it. First try it, see if it is authentic, and then only forward it ahead. That is what my answer would be.
Yes. So this is how we are going to conclude the session now. I would like to thank you. Thanks very much to today's expert, Jaya Chetwani, for taking your time, ma'am, for us and giving such a solution to us. Because if you see this sentence, that if you think that technology can solve cybersecurity related issue, then you don't understand the cyber threat and you don't understand the technology, because we need to understand the mindset. We need to understand the mindset behind these threats and security. And I think, ma'am, you help us to understand, you help us to train our mind to identify the threats and how to handle it. As you are a psychologist and you are counselor, I think you made this job wonderfully, and we are very much aware about these things. So once again, I would like to thank you for giving your time and your expertise to the session. So I would like to thanks once again.